What noises does a fox make?
Hello, welcome back to
What's Safeword?
I'm Amp.
I'm Mr. Christopher.
And today I'm an aftercare bearer.
And I'm a silver fox.
Today we are talking about aftercare. And it's also almost Halloween, so we figured it might be appropriate to get into the spirit.
And get all snuggly.
And might I say, you're looking very foxy today, Daddy. Today we are talking about aftercare in terms of sex and kink. So what is aftercare, Daddy?
Isn't that the place you take your kids when you don't want to watch them?
No, that's actually daycare. Daddy daycare. Aftercare is the time spent after a scene, and this time is used to provide comfort for both players that were involved, regardless of how intense the scene was.
And just because it comes after the scene doesn't mean it doesn't require forethought and communication.
And we know that aftercare is a very important part to sex and kink, but we feel that people don't really talk about it that often, and it's something that doesn't tend to get a lot of attention, ironically. So today we wanted to talk about why aftercare is important, how it works with your body, and the different kind of aftercares that are out there. As we go through these pointers throughout the video, think to yourself how aftercare looks for you and what kind of aftercare you need. Daddy, what kind of aftercare do you like? What does the fox say?
I don't know what a fox says.
No, that is
not a grr.
No, it's a joke.
So why is aftercare so important?
Well, when you think about kink, you have these fantasies in your head where you're getting kidnapped or taken advantage of or beaten and bruised. But with our fantasies, we don't really think about what happens afterwards.
And BDSM scenes can be very taxing for the body and mind, so there's a come down period afterwards, and this is sometimes called sub drop or dom drop.
But for all intents and purposes, we're just going to call it kink drop. Subs aren't better than doms, doms aren't better than subs, everyone experiences it. And when talking about aftercare, you also have to talk about headspace and realize that everyone's going to be in a different headspace depending on what BDSM scene's happening.
In BDSM play, your headspace and the endorphins flowing.
So how does the body react? Well, these endorphins, joined by neurotransmitters like dopamine, tell your pain receptors that they need to just lessen a bit and that your brain needs to send you all those feel-good feelings.
But when the dopamine subsides in the brain, a neurochemical called prolactin is released. This is the same chemical that causes us to be sleepy and kind of exhausted after.
When did you get off? How did you? And prolactin is a stress hormone for your brain to keep it level. So when we use a bunch of that during sex or even kink, it can make us feel depressed or even alienated after the fact.
So basically, what goes up must come down.
And kink especially can make someone feel used. So it's important that we provide good aftercare to help regulate our body's chemical levels.
And get them back to normal.
So that's how the body reacts to all these chemicals and how aftercare helps. But what kind of aftercare exists?
Well, it comes in two different categories, physical and mental/emotional.
With the latter two being very closely related in our minds. Minds, it's a pun, it's unintentional. Mental? Are you mental?
I don't get you, puppy.
Would you say you didn't mind me? Am I unbearable?
Yes you are.
So first, let's talk about the physical aftercare.
If gear was used, get them out of it, get them comfortable, rope, latex, anything that's constricting.
Take it off.
Take it off.
Next, showers. Showers can help someone feel normal again and human after a really intense, really degrading scene.
Next is massages. They can be used for cramps, numbness, exhaustions, or knots caused by long-term bondage or difficult positions.
And it's not just for subs. You can massage your top after they've been flogging you for a good long time if they need it. Yeah, maybe they have a sore shoulder.
It's exhausting flogging boys.
Readiness of food and drinks. Now, some people need snacks after a good session because their blood sugar drops really low. No, I'm the bear. Next is being able to deal with temperature. So having devices that help you either cool someone down or heat someone up from a very intense session, because you don't want your partner turning blue. He's a bear.
A blue bear?
No, from the Jungle Book. So that might mean having an ice pack or a heat pack in some sort of first aid kit, or just having really, really comfortable blankets, or maybe a onesie.
Shortness of breath. If your partner has a history of asthma or shortness of breath during a scene, make sure you have an inhaler or fresh air standing by.
Our fresh air standing right there.
Just standing by.
Hi, how's it going?
Want some fresh air? Want some fresh air?
For physical aftercare, of course, is physical attention. So give someone a hug, kiss, cuddle, don't touch me.
Actually, sometimes they may not want to be touched. I had a boy who liked to be flogged, and he just wanted to be in a fetal position on the floor, not being touched afterwards.
Just be there physically. You don't even have to touch him sometimes.
Not touching can be magic.
God damn it. And finally on our list for physical aftercare is having an aftercare kit physically available that you've put together with your bare hands.
Oh God.
Rawr.
Basic first aid supplies.
Have lotions, creams, things like Arnicare for cuts and bruises is great.
Aspirin, gauze,
Water or other liquids to help with electrolytes.
blankets,
If you're an aroma sort of person, candles are helpful.
and snacks for low blood sugar.
Maybe some gummy bears. And beyond that, any other things that help you come back down or you think would help someone.
So next is emotional, and emotional support is super important to kink because with those highs, you can get some pretty low lows.
I know personally, if I'm up and down a lot, I can be very bipolar bear.
You're unbearable.
I'm barely even trying.
Oh God. Damn it.
But on a serious note, mental illness is very serious. It's nothing to joke about. The first of the emotional or mental support is just talking. Talk about whatever helps.
Usually the sub will be very grateful for the experience.
Or the dom thanking the sub for all of their very, very intense scenes. Along with talking is reinforcing that someone did a good job. They made you feel happy. They had a good time with you.
Discuss the scene. Talk about what you enjoyed and the highlights of the scene that you can both revel in together.
And finally, just be affectionate through your words.
Aww. So next in the emotional is checking alertness and awareness. Make sure that they're able to communicate, walk, drive home safely, and leave the play scene in one piece.
Next in our emotional aftercare is emotional regrounding, or helping someone come back down emotionally because they are so intertwined with their sex and kink and their emotions.
So make sure you and your partner know where you stand emotionally and communicate that.
And make sure that people aren't misconstruing their emotions, so someone doesn't think your relationship means more than it actually does. Communicate that very clearly.
Clear expectations. Just because the scene is over doesn't mean that you're not responsible for your actions still. So checking in the next day also makes you a responsible player.
And you can do it the next day, the next couple days, just make sure they're okay. So that's the basics for physical and emotional aftercare, but we did want to cover a few questions that we get a lot. One of which is, when does aftercare end? Does it end right after the scene's over?
Well, no, like we just said in emotional aftercare, checking in a day or two after is appropriate.
Just because you're done with the scene does not mean that your responsibilities are over, as we said. And communication gets around in this scene. Or if the top is the one that should be checking in and he doesn't hear back, it makes him feel like he might have done something wrong.
Or was just used.
Yeah, and no one likes being used without consent.
So be proactive and be a good person. It only takes 2 seconds to send a "How are you doing?" text. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Who'd you play with? Who's Daniel?
Does everybody need aftercare?
For some people, aftercare may not be a requirement.
But that's something you talk about within the negotiations.
Similarly, aftercare goes both ways. Lots of people think it's just for the sub after a scene, but the dom has been working hard too.
And finally, something that I think is very important to mention is aftercare is not proportionate. It doesn't matter how much sex or how much kink has happened, everyone's aftercare might be different and might just be necessary.
So remember, aftercare should never be an afterthought.
And it should always be communicated, whether you're having normal sex or kink sex, and you should always have a safe word. And today's safe word is?
Shade.
Oh, for fuck's sake. And that safe word was given to us by Elliot over on Patreon. So if you want to become a patron and have your own safe word included, go join us there.
How did I know that? I'm sly like a fox. Points! So if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like down below.
And we'll see you guys next time on What's a Safe Word. Bye!
In my tail.
Ow! What are you doing?
No, let me beat you so I can give you aftercare.
Oh, ow, ow. Okay, now it's actually kind of getting annoying.
Aww. Are you okay? Do you need some water?
So much better. No, no. You barely beat me.
I like beating Care Bears.